Hey guys, it's Dylan from ValveTech, and in today's video we're going to be doing a countdown on all 6 of the primary weapons for the Scout and what they have to offer in Team Fortress 2. We will rank them all from worst to best and evaluate the strengths and weaknesses to determine which one is the prime choice and most common TF2 gameplay. Before we start this countdown, if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Without wasting any more of your time though, let's hop right into the worst to best Scout primaries. Coming in at our overall worst Scout primary in Team Fortress 2, we have the infamous Backscatter, a weapon that is notorious for its pitiful attributes and rather terrible handling. This weapon fires the standard 10 pellets a shot, with each pellet doing 6 damage, totaling up to a base damage of 60, with 180 being the damage you can land around a crit. In fact, the only way you get full crits with this weapon is if you're winning a round or a crit streak pocket medic, as the weapon has a feature of landing no critical hits. Along with downsides comes a 34% less clip size from stock, which brings down the weapon capacity from 6 to 4, which isn't too bad, to unreliable damage in most firefights, even at point blank range. Especially those that are a little further out as well, as not only do you have the terrible advantage of not being able to engage in fights from a longer distance, but you will barely hold a fighting chance at that point. But to make up for all these horrible attributes, the specialty of this weapon is the ability to mini-crit enemies that are shot from behind. The idea of flanking your enemy is awesome, and while it seems like a cool weapon to use, the other disadvantages that come in with this gun make it more of a situational tool rather than a utility, leading to some really frustrating deaths. And the weapon overall just isn't reliable. The next weapon on our list is rather a different weapon from the Scout's primary arsenal, known as the Shortstop. This weapon holds 4 shots at once and has 32, the standard reserve. The base damage on this weapon is slightly weaker than that of a regular scattergun. The weapon fires only 4 pellets, but 1 pellet does 12 damage, combining a total damage per shot of 48. This makes each pellet do double the damage than that of the regular scattergun, and a critical hit with this weapon is still slightly weaker than that of the regular crit scattergun shot, only coming in at 144 damage compared to the more standard 180 seen on the rest of the scatterguns. You should still expect great damage against your opponents at close range. Besides the 33% smaller clip size, while 60% less pellets per shot, the weapon also makes you 20% more vulnerable to push force like gunfire and air blast, meaning you'll fly further and gunfire will impact your movement a lot more, similar to the same effects like the Natasha. Like the Scout, where the weapon lacks any real strength, it makes up for its rather quick reload and firing speed. The weapon has a 42 increase in firing speed compared to the scattergun, making it way easier to pop off more shots quickly at your target. And considering it's a clip-based reload that's seen like in the sniper's SMG, you make sure you can load 4 shots in mere seconds before you're back in the fight. The Shortstop has an ability unlike no other Scout primary in his arsenal, and all attack can be performed with the Shortstop, allowing the Scout to shout players away from him if they happen to get too close and personal. This can be useful in some cases, but like all of the Scout's other primaries, the gun feels a little too situational and will only be used effectively in a few gunfight scenarios. While the weapon isn't the worst in the Scout's arsenal and can be used pretty effectively, it isn't the most reliable damage-wise, and with the fewer pellets comes fewer chances of actually hitting your enemy, considering casual matches have a random weapon spread. But overall, damaging the enemy creates an unreliable gun to wield on the field. Next, we will be looking at the Babyface's Blaster, which has seen a lot of reworks over the past year since its release. The weapon shares a similar basic crit damage to that seen with the scattergun, with the same weapon spread and pellet amount. The weapon, like the Shortstop and Backscatter, holds 4 shots in the clip, with 32 in reserve. One thing to note when equipping this weapon is that the player will have a 10% slower running speed than any other primary, making the Scout run at 120% of the base speed from 133% with the other scatterguns. However, a boost meter will be displayed on your HUD, which will increase as you do damage to your enemies and will max out at 100 points of damage dealt. As the boost meter fills, your speed ramps up and you're able to run even faster than the base speed of the Scout. When the meter is completely full, you'll be moving at 173% of the base speed, which is 44% faster than Scouts running at regular level speed. However, the speed isn't permanent, and the weapon encourages you to use it to dodge any incoming fire from your enemies. In the event that you do get hit by enemy fire, your speed bar will drop, decreasing your speed a good sum. Double jumping will also kill your bonus speed very quickly, so sticking to singular jumps or staying on the ground might be the best bet. This weapon is stellar when it comes to on-the-ground combat, and you can really weave in and out of gunfights with the item mobility. It's a weapon that rewards Scouts who can dodge well and still hit targets. The main issue this weapon holds is how easily the speed can break, as only a few shots from a heavy, or a sniper's SMG, or a Scout can bring you back down to that 10% slower speed than Scout, the regular average Scout. The weapon also hinders your ability to double jump, which could be an issue when it comes to engaging opponents with good traction. Overall, the gun feels a lot less situational in most firefights, and I feel scouts can more comfortably and reliably win fights if they use the added speed bonus as their advantage. Backing into our third spot on this list, we have the Force of Nature, a weapon that kicks like a mule and hits hard at your opponent. The weapon has a rather weird pellet damage count, sporting 12 pellets that do 5.4 damage each, adding up to a total of 65 for the base damage of this gun. This makes the base damage a little more powerful than stock, and critical hits do up to 194 damage, which will make any opponent drop in one shot from it being point blank at least. The weapon features a knockback feature that sends any enemies that get meat shotted flying, and they can take a lot of fall damage from the drop. This perk is a blessing and a curse, as it can be hard to follow up with another hard second shot, since the target may be too far away to lay down effective fire. This weapon also fires 50% faster than stock, which allows you to fire back-to-back shots, just like a double-barreled shotgun, for example. While each pellet does roughly 10% less damage per pellet, the 20% increase in pellets per shot actually makes the Scout Primary the most lethal out of all of them at point-blank range. Reload times are manageable, although if you reload with one bullet in the chamber, you will lose it, which can shoot through ammo very quickly if you're not careful. Overall, the Force of Nature isn't a bad choice, and easily is one of the funnest weapons during a scout. It's more multi-purpose as well, so you shouldn't struggle as much when it comes to normal gunfights, along with the many mobility advantages it brings you, like being able to triple jump. Our second spot on this list belongs to the Soda Popper, which to a lot of people is a better version of the Force of Nature. This gun shares the same pellet count and base damage as stock, as well as the same crit damage. Like the Force of Nature, this gun holds 2 bullets in the clip, with 32 for reserve, and also can lose an extra bullet if you reload with one in the chamber. While the Soda Popper doesn't have a knockback effect against your enemy, it does grant you to use the Hype ability, which is built into doing damage to the enemy team. After dealing approximately 480 damage, you can use the Hype for 8 seconds, which grants you to jump up to 5 times in a row with nothing stopping you. This gun is extremely versatile, and opens up the doors to interact and use the map more to your advantage with the added Hype. Like the Force of Nature, the gun fires 50% faster, allowing you to pop off multiple shots faster, but also has a 25% faster reload than stock. Besides only having 2 shots, you can't really go wrong with this gun, and the windows of opportunity this gun grants you is unmatched compared to other Scout Primaries, and sometimes can be even more useful than stock. And, well, in first place, who's really surprised by the old reliable scatter gun? I really don't even need to introduce this thing, as it's literally just a reskin of the old reliable shotgun, but with a way cooler design. It has 6 shots loaded, with 32 to spare, and this gun isn't going to hold you back. Like, if you need a good crack gun, this is the gun you're going to use. Stock is honestly the best, which makes me sad to say, because a lot of other weapons Scout has are cool, but they just aren't balanced correctly, and honestly, this has been something I've been wanting to do a video on, because I feel like most of the Scout Primaries, most of them are just very, very unreliable, so maybe come up with a video, some ideas of what they could do to make it more viable, but I don't know. Anyway guys, I'd like to thank you for checking out this video. If you happen to enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like, and if you have enjoyed any of my previous content or this video, please consider subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all my future content. Also, don't forget to check out my recent video, which is a really heavily edited Left 4 Dead 2. It's really funny. I did a lot of cool editing. Yeah, just, maybe check it out if you have time. Otherwise, thank you, and have a good day.